fools. You didn't see anything, chat. You didn't see anything. It's not like I forgot to go full screen. Anyway. If I get control again. As far back as I can remember, I always wanted to be a gangster. Seamless. Nobody noticed anything that went wrong, even though it just went live. Damn it. That was our nod to Tony Bennett. Like so many bits of like music that he's done that have become iconic in film, not just the Goodfellas bit. I guess like all the stuff as well that he did with Gaga and Winehouse and all that in recent years, still staying sort of relevant, and you know, he probably could have been
Yeah,
more of a Rat
when I
Pack
saw
as
the
well.
headline, it's like 96 is old, and it's like normally you wouldn't be surprised by somebody that dies at 96, but my first thought was, wasn't he just performing like really recently?
To some extent, I think he wound down like a year ago, maybe. Which I guess in retrospect, still pretty recent. But yeah, he's gone. Vince Hill's gone, who got a very big hit in the UK with his version of Edelweiss. Loads of people. But this is our contribution. Talking about other stuff. Welcome to Pop the Question for the 24th of July 2023. As always, I'm your host, Ashley. And joining me is AJ.
Yeah.
And Owen.
As you can see, you can't see my face still. Hopefully soon.
Popcast Movie Club. Because I need to get the poll sorted. So we need to get the order. Which I'm pretty sure from what I remember, Chris was first because of Pacific Heights.
Yeah.
Then AJ, then myself, and then Owen. So while I
somehow, some way, I ended up on the bottom of everything. It's very weird.
right, so even though it was off the call and I can't remember, what was Chris's pick?
Well, much like Pacific Heights, it's a movie that already has a versus. I think a kind of recent versus, but when we approached Pacific Heights, I said it'll be interesting to get the group discussion now, and I feel like that ended up working really well with Pacific Heights. I didn't feel like I was like repeating myself or anything. So my brother's pick is it's on a very tight spot on the shelf. My brother's pick is The Great Mouse Detective. I almost pulled gravity down with me. This row is really tightly put in.
Right. Then yours, AJ.
Mine is interesting because when it came out, it was to its own acclaim, even though it's also known for being, in quotes, I guess, a Tarantino ripoff. But it kind of feels like its own thing anyway. And to give you another clue, besides supposed Tarantino ripoff, is the person I'm looking at on the very front of the cover right now just won an Oscar at this past ceremony, but not for acting. Anybody? It's got by the way, it's got a stacked cast. She's just at the front of it.
trying to think. There's quite a few of that sort of style. Trying to remember.
Just won an Oscar at this ceremony, but not for acting.
Now I'm trying to think of the only person I can think of.
You know we forget about the award ceremony after it's over.
No, the only person I can think of is was it Sarah Polley for writing Women Talking?
It might be.
I can't think what film it is though.
Hold on.
I said a stat cast, but I guess you could say she's kind of the central character, kind of. It's an ensemble piece.
Of course it is. Ooh.
Maybe
Would this be a movie I've seen before?
I don't know if you've seen this, actually. I don't think we've ever talked about it.
Considering who's in the subcast, I'm wondering whether it has a connection to Monopoly.
I don't believe it does.
Okay, so it's not that one.
2009?
No.
Okay.
You're about a decade off.
Wait, so it is connected to Monopoly? Or is it the other one?
What's that?
Is it the other? There's two films from '99 that I think it is, and if it's not the Monopoly one, I'm guessing.
Well, okay. Yeah, the word is typically associated with Monopoly. Yes, the movie itself is not associated with Monopoly.
No, that's what I
Then
meant.
I know exactly what it is.
I'm collecting my $200.
Yep, exactly.
Yes, it is Go.
Yes. Have seen this movie, AJ.
I was actually going to hold off because people have started making this movie kind of popular again as far as an untraditional Christmas movie. So I was actually going to wait till December, but I'm going ahead and doing it now.
Fair. Well, dude, it is called Christmas in July for a reason, so it makes sense.
It won't be July by the time we do it, though.
When it was dropped, though.
Yeah.
Technically speaking, the thought process is there.
Oh, great. It's done that again.
Ashley, what are you adding to the list?
There's the rub. It's one that AJ's talked about, and it was one that was going to be on my list as well. So I guess I poach it from his claws. 2006's Children of Men.
Nice.
Oh my God, that's the one I was gonna choose if I didn't pick Go. Perfect. Oh, that would have been so. What would we have done? That would have been so awkward.
Don't worry, I had covers. I was like, my other cover was films with Queen in the soundtrack, so it was either going to be Highlander or Flash Gordon, but I was sorted either way.
Oh man,
I prefer one over the other personally.
I can't wait for the day we do Flash Gordon. That's going to be great.
There's two others which I'm surprised you have not done verses on.
Ooh.
Considering one's a classic from the 90s and one's a classic from the 70s. When I went through the list, I was like, because I'm going through my list trying to work out what subpar horror film we can have, because I don't want to show something that I want Owen to watch. So I'm trying to find something which falls in the grasps of it's well received, but I don't know what to think of it. And I think I found it. But like all these other horror films that I want to put in, like that one's got an original concept that needs to be seen by Owen. That one has as well. That one's too classic not to have Owen's take on it. And then it's like there's that one which is British sort of B-movie style.
Sounds fun.
Which fits the repartee probably more so. But yeah. I wanted Children of Men to come up, and I wasn't gonna, I wasn't gonna poach it from AJ if he said it. I was gonna let him say it if he had the first right to. But jumping on the chance, I want to talk about it so badly, only because they actually showed it over here on television on a non-commercial station, so people could actually see it all in one go. Right, Owen.
So, this is a fun one. I have three options here. My first one has a versus, and I had just literally discussed somebody from this movie like yesterday. So that's out. Number two, one keeps hanging in the back of my mind because it keeps getting name dropped incidentally on here all the time. And I thought I was going to bring it, but it felt like it was way too topical at the time because it fits something that recently just happened that also involves this past year's Oscars in many ways. One of which I will account and one of which I will deny. That being said, it all comes down to the fact that there is a genre we have yet to tackle in Movie Club. And who better than me, of all people, to bring this genre to light? So in 2021, there was a documentary short that came out called How Do You Measure a Year? And I made many references saying, I'm just going to vote for this just because of what it is. I never saw it. It was just, that's what it's called. And if you know me...
There's another 2021 movie you surprisingly haven't mentioned in regards to this movie.
At the end of the day, how do you measure a year? 525,600 minutes. Yes, my pick for Popcast Movie Club is something that has been near and dear to my heart since the first day I ever saw it off Broadway. And when the movie came, and AJ can back me up on this, I watched this movie constantly. I have a fun story about being the only one in the theater, and a manager at the time came in and saw me literally singing in front of the actual non-crowd. That's how into this movie I was, and still remain to this day. Now, with the story of Jonathan Larson getting robbed out of the nominees for Best Picture, my pick is 2005's Rent.
Did I ever tell you how I first learned about Rent?
I'm curious, actually.
I was in 9th grade when it was coming out, and my Spanish teacher was super psyched about it. I think that's how I first heard about it.
That doesn't surprise me.
Because he and a few people in the class were talking about it, and I was like, I don't even know what that is. And then I realized the phenomenon of it.
I have a great story from back in the day. Let's just say, for sake of argument, since so many years have passed, at that time in my life, when I actually got to see it off Broadway, I had everybody that mattered the most to me in that venue. Some were beside me, and some of them were in another place in the venue, but everybody was there, and it felt like it was right. And I still have my dog tag, so if I was on camera right now, I'd show them to you. So hopefully, I can show you my dog tag. It says No Day But Today on it. And my cow, I have that too. I can show that as well. I have merch. Happily. So yeah, I feel that the first musical to Movie Club needs to be something that I bring to the table, and I think it makes sense.
This is really easy for me because I have copies of all 4 of these movies, so that's a relief.
No, I do too, but I'd have to find it. And I don't think I have a DVD player anywhere. To get this one out of the way real quick, Brian says that's a great list of candidates. These would all be first time watches.
This should be interesting.
This is legitimately a movie club that there's not one of these films I've not seen. That doesn't happen fairly often. I love Children of Men. That movie's fantastic. I really enjoyed Go. And The Great Mouse Detective is such a solid film. And I cannot wait to be able to literally watch the movie and just sing along. And I will. 100% I will.
I'm curious to go back to it since I haven't seen it since the DVD came out. Like when I saw Rent for the first time, it was a brand new release at the video store.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen it since. I remember liking it, I just haven't seen it since.
There's a lot of similarities to the play versus the movie, kind of like Rocky Horror Show versus Rocky Horror Picture Show. Some songs that were taken out of the movie that are in the play, of course, to condense it a little bit.
I'm hoping, to my understanding, it's not that thick. I'd kind of like to read Children of Men the week we do that, depending on where it lands.
That makes sense. Well, I mean, I don't know where the rest of it's going to go, but it's if you go with what's going on right now, at least according to what I have in front of me, you don't have much time, good sir.
I think it's only like 200 and something pages, which when you're a Stephen King fan is thin. 200 pages is thin.
That is fair.
So yeah, do your votes now. Vote by the end of the show tonight and determine what the picks for Movie Club are going to be. Take us into August. Actually, to take us into and almost end August as well, if you really think about it, with the way everything's 2 weeks behind.
Just writing down things in case I need to work out which one got the vote first, in case we have ties.
Now, right now, I got everybody's chat. Once again, before we get started, thanks everyone for putting in your questions early. If you can, also utilize the Discord server to, if you have any questions that are not taking place, if you come up with ideas of questions, then we can keep them for the next show. Because unless we lose the dialogue, which in Discord we won't, it's going to be there for us. So right now we're going to shout out Brian and Spencer for providing the questions for tonight. And just as I say that, hi Josie.
So Brian does
hey
mention...
guys, late. That's okay. We'll get there. I think we started a few minutes late too, so it's fine.
Bry does mention the sort of big talking point is the SAG strike.
Yeah, as I try to organize this chat right now, feel free to bring it up.
Yeah, I mean, I find it interesting that we're now getting news that basically all SAG is asking from the studios is like $23 million a year. And this is what the studios are griping about. In which case, some of them making hundreds of millions, if not billions. So,
I just want to know what Ron Perlman's going to do to Bob Iger.
he's the Everything I've seen, he's the nicest man. So when he turns like more Hellboy than Hellboy, you know you're screwed.
Yeah, it's the thing that's the most annoying about this are the people that are chiming in without realizing what's going on. The people that think it's the really rich actors that are complaining. If you want to use the word they use, complaining, having no idea about the fact that SAG is like almost 200,000 people, and the people, I think the number, I don't know if this is hyperbole or not, but it sounds right. Basically, the number of actors that we know, that like everybody knows and that you see on posters and everything, is basically like 2% of SAG. And the other 98% are people that make no money at all. So
Sounds
I
about
wish
right.
more people I wish more people were aware of that before they say, "Oh, what do actors have to complain about?" There are many actors that have nothing to complain about, but times that by, I don't know, over 100 something, and that's who we're talking about.
Yeah, I find it interesting that like because it's the first time that SAG and WGA have sort of struck together in like 60 years ish to some extent. And this is at the same time when like a lot of franchise films are underperforming, and it's the original movies, case in point this week with Oppenheimer and Barbie, that are actually doing very well, along with probably Super Mario movie. Okay, it's based on established IP, but it's certainly it's a new movie franchise. Which just make me wonder whether the big thing as well that's going to come from this is you're going to get more original stories coming, because that's what the appetite is now, rather than, which makes me wonder what's going to happen with, Aquaman 2 or Saw 10 or all these other things that are either remakes or, sequels. How much clamoring is there for a new version of Color Purple? I know it's the musical version rather than a direct adaptation of the original film, but I'm just wondering whether there's just Hollywood fatigue now with general audiences.
It's funny, we were having that conversation yesterday about Snake Eyes and when movies like that used to make over 100 million. Because I had been hearing this, it seems too good to be true, honestly, but what I was hearing was one of the best case scenarios to come out of these strikes is the rebirth of the mid-budget movie and the repopularity of the mid-budget movie. That would be fantastic.
Although,
But like I said, that it almost seems too good to be true too, so I won't hold my
yeah,
breath.
well, Insidious sort of fell through the cracks, really, despite being probably a good film.
It's fine.
Which was, as a mid-budget, did, pretty well. Oh god, there's a movie. Wow.
Yeah, horror's always been horror is usually dependable, regardless of budget. I feel like for the most part, theatrically, because I mean, Insidious is a franchise, but horror also just kind of sells itself. Like you don't even need stars for horror for it to do really well.
Oh,
One thing I do want to bring up, which I don't know whether Bry's already brought up later on in the comments, but Bry usually brings it up. An interesting mix for October's Criterion collection.
Oh my god. Oh my god. I before we say anything, I am gonna make sweet love to that Todd Browning thing. I can't tell you. I already have it in my mind. I'm already holding it in my fantasy.
To me, it's like this seems to be the first time that they've actually dedicated sort of horror or supernatural stuff just to October releases that I can think of. I'd have to look through the list of like previous ones, but yeah. So October the 3rd's Don't Look Now remaster, I guess. Videodrome on the 10th. The Sideshow Shockers collection of the Unknown and the Mystic, along with the probably most well known out of the three of them, Freaks.
The Unknown is incredible too, and it's a shame how appropriate its title is. It should be about as famous as Freaks is.
The others on October the 24th, and then Halloween itself. Is it one that you've seen yet? I don't think it is, because it's an Amazon one, isn't it? I think Nanny was Amazon.
I know it's new. That's the only thing I know about.
It's Amazon, at least over here. It's an Amazon original, so a damn good list, I will say. Bry also does have the his Amazon Prime Day Blu-ray haul. Surprisingly, only 5 this time though. Florence Foster Jenkins, The Batman, Women Talking, and finally the favourite, but especially The Shape of Water. That's a good 5.
As far as Criterion doing that remaster for Videodrome, I know Videodrome's a movie I should really update to Blu-ray, but I've got the Criterion DVD where they did it looks like a VH. I feel like the size of the DVD box more suits the VHS look. So I've actually, just based on that alone, I haven't been in a hurry to Blu-ray it.
That's fair. Right, Owen, do you want to go through some of Spencer's list?
Yeah, we got lots of things actually to go through. Spencer chimes in, "Hey guys." So Spencer, I need a little clarification here. I think me and Ashley have figured out this is stuff that happened in 2000. Is that what the first list is? The one that started at 5:07 today? Because I need clarification. The second part's easy because that's your Spencer's awards, but I don't know exactly what the. Now I'm telling you, I keep watching this poll and it keeps bouncing back and forth.
Yes. Oh shit. I've got to write down different order of names now.
So at any rate, what I have here, and Spencer hopefully will clarify. Best Picture Traffic, director Soderbergh, actor Ed Harris for Pollock, Ellen Burstyn for Requiem for a Dream for actress, Best Supporting Actor Willem Dafoe for Shadow of a Vampire, Supporting Actress Judi Dench for Chocolat, Original Screenplay Almost Famous, damn right, Best Adapted Screenplay Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Best Original Score Milena, Ennio Morricone, Things Have Changed from Wonder Boys for Original Song, and The Patriot for Best Sound. Fun fact, Patriot was the first time I ever received a readmission ticket and had the power go out when I watched a movie screening.
Is that Spencer or you talking?
This is me talking. Do you remember that story?
I don't know. It might be familiar, but
We're watching The Patriot, and we're in the last reel. It's about to go home, and then, as AJ knows so well, this huge lightning bolt just hits the side of the theater. It sounds like it's right outside, and then everything just goes black. those are those times that I remember back in the day that we used to go watch movies. And because I worked there, they're like, hey, you can help with stuff. So I would have to leave my seat to help with various problems that they didn't want to fix on their own. That being said, there was one time that I remember the power went out and I had to help hand out readmission tickets. Fun stories.
Complicated at all.
Best art direction, Gladiator. Cinematography, Crouching Tiger. Best makeup, Shadow of a Vampire. Costume design, How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Best editing for Traffic. Visual effects for The Perfect Storm. So, Spencer, if you are around, please verify. Oh, my dad. Oh, no.
The crack of doom.
You're getting Laura Barnes again, AJ.
Great. Are we good?
I think so.
For now.
I see green. I hope.
I see your face now, so we're good.
I guess I should look at my screen before I go on something. Yep, it's red again.
Okay.
Am I still audible? Okay.
You're being clear.
I love the love that Ellen Burstyn gets, but I'm racing it now. But I hate how much that undermines Julia Roberts' win, because I love Julia Roberts' win, but I know everybody's all about the Ellen Burstyn should have swept everything thing, but I don't have any problems with Julia Roberts' win, honestly.
Ashley, please make sure you have access to everything just in case we lose anything.
Yeah. God, this poll's going all over the place.
I know.
This is like a horse race. Right.
Okay. I think we're good. Okay. I have a bunch of Josie stuff here, too. I want to make sure I don't lose those. Because it is not wanting to let me copy this stuff over to a notepad, Ashley. Being very particular. All right. And we chime in. Spencer continues. 1993 Spencer Awards. Best Picture went to Schindler's List. Best Director was Steven Spielberg. Best Actor was Daniel Day-Lewis for In the Name of the Father. Holly Hunter for The Piano for Actress. Supporting Actor was Leonardo DiCaprio for What's Eating Gilbert Grape. Supporting Actress went for Rosie Perez for Fearless. Original Screenplay was Sleepless in Seattle. And adapted was Schindler's List. Best Original Score, The Fugitive. Best Original Song, The Day I Fall in Love from Beethoven's Second. Best Sound was The Fugitive. Nice. And he did 1994. Go ahead, AJ.
We just had this conversation recently, but I don't know how I feel about Beethoven's Second over Springsteen, but it's a choice.
Yeah, it is. Oh no, we'll talk about that in a minute, actually, because I did not know that was a thing.
Oh.
So we're gonna go on to 1994 now. Best Picture was Shawshank. Director was Kieslowski for Three Colors. Morgan Freeman for Shawshank was actor. Actress was Miranda Richardson for Tom and Viv. Paul Schofield for Quiz Show for supporting actor. And Jennifer Tilly for Bullets Over Broadway. Original screenplay, Four Weddings and a Funeral. Best adapted screenplay was Shawshank. Sound was Speed. Art direction was Bullets Over Broadway. Nice.
Is it weird that my all-time favorite movie is Pulp Fiction, but my first question for Spencer is, are you not a Forrest Gump fan?
Fair. Josie says great lineups and winners, Spencer. Oh my goodness. I have a feeling we're going to cut chat at 7 o'clock. My mistake for not cutting it at 6:30. Spencer says, I did the Barbenheimer and I am now a Greta Gerwig stan. Welcome to the club, Spencer. We've got jackets in there.
I didn't tell you something, Owen.
Oh, God, what happened?
Nothing bad. Some plans changed.
Okay.
I didn't partake in the phenomenon, but I was supposed to see Oppenheimer later.
Correct.
But I have. So there's that.
Nice.
So as far as the speaking bluntly, I was gonna aim for Wednesday.
Oh,
because
cool.
something I want to do before I review it is watch it the day after Trinity, just for a little more context, and then yeah. But yes, I have seen the movie, so we're gonna talk about it in a couple of days.
Heck yeah, we are. Speaking of that, it's Spencer's favorite Nolan.
Still, and I hate saying this because it sounds like I'm just trying to be different.
Mm-hmm.
I think mine is still Insomnia. Mine is still Insomnia, and nobody ever mentions it anymore. If they ever did to begin with.
Well, that's like saying that Insomnia like vastly overshadowed 1 Hour Photo.
These days I hear a lot more about 1 Hour Photo than I do Insomnia.
Really? I don't know.
Everybody says the same thing. Yeah, every comment I see is like, "Oh, you want to see Dark Robin Williams? See 1 Hour Photo," as if they're presenting something that wasn't known before. I never hear Insomnia mentioned unless it's like, "Oh, and Insomnia was that year also."
Oh wow. Interesting. That's not what I would expect.
I still really love Memento. Also, the Dark Knight trilogy has come down over the years,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't fall in love with Interstellar like a lot of people. I like Interstellar, but it didn't change my fucking life or anything.
Sure.
And The Prestige is The Prestige is one of those movies I always have to rewatch to remember how great it is.
That's fair.
Where it's like when I'm just thinking of Nolan movies, it's like, yeah, The Prestige is great too, sure. But when you watch The Prestige, it's like, oh shit, I forgot how great this is.
I never forget we were sitting in that theater and we were watching the movie and that twist happened and like the whole theater you could see everybody's brain just spinning.
Everybody says that, and my response is, which twist? There's like 5.
The answer is yes. That's the only answer to what twist. The answer is yes. And that gives me a chance to talk about the Prestige Illusionist verses that exists on this channel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I did find it interesting though that probably for the first time in years, Sky Arts actually showed Following, Nolan's debut.
Oh wow.
Which I keep forgetting is like a really dark film. The other thing I didn't realize is like the third brother is like wanted for like murder or something. Who's on the run, allegedly. Unless it's something that's been brought up as like some weird sort of thing. I don't know.
So Spencer continues, thoughts on Greta doing Narnia for Netflix? She deserves a theatrical release film. Hey, again, if you're talking about somebody when it comes to Greta, I'm probably not the person you want to speak up, because I'm going to defend anything she does. And I wasn't a big fan of Narnia as it is, so go ahead, AJ.
And I'm the opposite of that.
Exactly.
But I don't want to now. Anytime somebody has a new movie I haven't seen yet, a director specifically,
sure,
I try to avoid saying like, "Oh, I don't like that person," because all it takes is one movie to turn you around on a director. So, without having seen Barbie, I'll abstain from the Narnia question.
That's fair.
I'm trying to fit. What's your opinion generally on Baumbach, though?
Yeah, I know where this is headed.
I think most of the time I love him.
Right.
I'll love him forever, no matter what. Just for the Squid and the Whale alone. But now that we're and I read a Marriage Story, but it does feel like ever since he's been with Gerwig, his movies have gotten more Gerwig-esque. Which is hard to say because he was before Gerwig was Gerwig, but I don't know. There's something where when Gerwig came into his life, you can see a change in his movies, I feel like. Not like a big one, but it's there. Like they seem to delve more in his career pre-Gerwig felt more watching real life. And then his career post-Gerwig is like the quirkiness she's known for is coming into it. I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining that.
Yeah, just because it's a co-written script.
Marriage Story is pretty straightforward.
I wonder whether the script was going to be strong enough to pull you through, possibly, but we'll see when you get around to it.
Because another movie I love, another movie I really love that tends to go under the radar is Margot at the Wedding, and that was pre-Gerwig. But then again, Margaret at the Wedding's Jennifer Jason Leigh, who was his other muse, his muse before Gerwig. So maybe Jennifer Jason Leigh was just better for him creatively.
I feel that with the world building and the way that Barbie was shot, the way that Barbie was produced, and I can say this being someone that's seen it twice now, within 24 hours from each other. The thing is, I feel that the land of Narnia would work really well, especially in that kind of aesthetic, and I feel that Greta's going to make it work really well, and I'm looking forward to seeing what she does next. AJ, this might be for you technically. He says, I rewatched Nightmare 2. It gets better on rewatch. I like it better than 3 and 5.
All of them are better than 5. Freddy's Dead's better than 5. It is interesting. I go back and forth on how I feel about Nightmare 2.
Oh my god.
We're halfway into this talking about Elm Street.
It eventually got through just on a... Jesus. No, this poll. Oh my god.
I know, it's crazy, isn't it?
Owen shouldn't have opened his mouth.
Cassie.
I went from first to last in the space of 30 minutes. Love it. And again, this might be a record for the most amount of votes we've had on the poll, so thank you, everybody. Keep voting.
I don't know how many people are like shoot here, but you are pushing this poll like back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. I can't tell if AJ's here or not at this point.
I mean, I can hear you.
Okay.
Can
I
you
can see that wonderful
hear me?
Laura Barnes screen that doesn't stable internet connection.
As long as you can hear me, I'll keep going.
Okay, we're good. Spencer asked me, what was your favorite part of working in a movie theater, and what was the worst part? Any funny stories? I would have been more than happy to answer this on the anniversary show, and I'll be more than happy to answer it now. One of the things that I really enjoyed about working at a theater was I loved previewing. Previewing was great. I remember previewing a movie could start like another war between the managers and the employees. One person got paid to preview the movie, and the rest could join them. And they had to have some sort of a way of contacting upstairs in order to get problems fixed that may arise. Lots of things happen in that time frame, including the fact that they put Finding Nemo together with a different type of tape, and every single time the tape went through a brain wrapped, that destroyed that print. There was literally prints of movies that just killed entire theaters. Many times, movies played at the wrong time. Kids were there to see Spirit. They saw Unfaithful instead. Never forget that one. Watching Darth Vader fall on his face during a midnight screening. And I was the only one that saw it. And the aforementioned lightsaber duel between someone I worked with and Darth Vader as well, on top of it. So yeah, being paid to preview was really cool. Being able to get movies was cool. I love being able to. I was a digital projectionist, and one of the things I really enjoyed doing, they gave me a manager key. I had no power, no extra money, but I had a manager key, which is all that mattered. I could go into the side door, I could go upstairs, I would sit at the desk, I would build my movies, I'd verify they worked, and no one would bother me. It was amazing. I loved every second of it. They taught me and my ex at the time, and she just decided, I don't really want to do that, so I ended up being the go-to for the longest time. Lots of stories, falling asleep in concession on a Friday night, and no one realized it. Falling upside down in a chair when Monsters, Inc. was getting ready to leave. Being one of the only people in Bolt when everybody in the world was watching Twilight. And, of course, as always happens, falling for many of my female coworkers. So, yeah. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions about the theater. But yeah, it was fun. Plus, I was one of the only guys they actually trusted in the box office.
That's just the tip of the iceberg of stories, too.
Oh my god, we could have an entire show based on stories I have from the theater. The fact that there were life-size banners for Freddy versus Jason that almost caused like the place to like explode. Can't forget that. The night we previewed it, when no one was allowed to know, the secret screenings of Harry Potter that apparently people that didn't even work there got into.
Oh, I was gonna say secret in giant quotes.
Yeah, that's a work.
It was, wasn't it? It was.
Oh boy, go ahead.
Friends, where we went.
We'll get there, little Optimum. Come on, let's go.
I was telling the story about the Half-Blood Prince secret screening.
Yeah.
Where there was not a seat left.
Yep. I think everybody was allowed in that screening. Sitting in the theater at
I
3 in the
saw
morning.
people in that screening I hadn't seen in a year.
Yeah, tell me about it. I literally sat in the aisleway and watched Sideways with McDonald's. Yeah, there was a lot of fun times because what we do is one person would be paid, but the rest of the people just sit in there. And sometimes we would watch movies like double features because we would get done doing the road sign. And it's like, hey, let's go preview now. And then have a way home. So it's like, yep, sure, let's go. So the person I worked with was my ride home. So it worked out very well to my advantage many times. And then the next day at work, when everybody's like, well, what do you think of I mean, did you get to see the movie? Oh, yeah, I watched it last night. It's fine. I'll explain how it works and everything like that. And I was one of the only people that had those conversations with my guests. So, yeah. Technically speaking, I could talk all day about that, but we've got a lot of things we need to get to because technically speaking, I got lots of questions and I'm calling chat right now. I'm going to have to. And my friends reap the benefits too. AJ's posters he has on his wall. The fact that AJ actually did preview a movie himself.
I also still have the giant banner for Law Abiding Citizen.
Yes.
It's somewhere.
So since I talked too long, I'll have to speed up a bit. Favorite lone Best Director nomination over the years?
We're gonna have to define lone director. Is that just director nomination without a picture nomination, or is that director's the only nomination? Because that list is harder as far as the ones that exist.
Elaboration is not being mentioned here.
Whenever I say lone director nomination, I just mean that as director nomination without a best picture nomination. So are we gonna go on that?
That's fine.
So obviously the first one that comes to mind is Bennett Miller for Foxcatcher.
Well, yeah.
Altman's for The Player, obviously. The ones for Hitchcock, Rear Window and Psycho and Life. The Kubrick's for 2001. For Antonioni. And I don't really love as much as like Oscar nominations would lead you to believe, but I just love how out of nowhere it feels and respect that A Fish Called Wanda got a director nomination. And A Fish Called Wanda's general Oscar success with somehow not getting a picture nomination has always been funny.
I was literally trying to find a list to try to go through, and I can't find any, so I'm just keep that the way it is.
The only one that comes to mind for me.
So many I'm forgetting.
The only one at mine that comes to me was Richard Attenborough for Gandhi. It's surprising with some of the films that he has directed that Gandhi's the only one that, yet alone nominated, actually won.
Oh, we talking? Did I go down the wrong path this whole time?
Not necessarily.
Are you talking about somebody that a director that was only nominated once?
I mean, that's the way I was going with, because it said, lone.
I don't understand
lone best
the concept
director nomination.
question.
It said lone best director nomination. Because practically enough people have not seen Magic. That is creepy as fuck. But yeah, when you see stuff like Chorus Line and Chaplin and Cry Freedom and Shadowlands that didn't get anything, you know, it's a shame it's just Gandhi. Not get me wrong, it's a solid film, but just like there's other stuff that probably should have been nominated, that probably went by the wayside.
Okay. I'm going to abstain because I don't get the question. Here's something I won't abstain on. Spencer asked thoughts on Air.
Well, I'm offended by that question because that video exists, so this one's for you.
I will say right now that with one notable exception, which anybody that knows me and anybody that's watching this should know exactly what I'm talking about. Everything with that exception that I have seen this year that I would put on a best list all have one-word titles. And we're about to talk about another one in a minute. We'll get to that in a second, Spencer. Air's phenomenal. I really hope it gets all the awards love it deserves. Everybody just brings their A game. I love the aesthetic of the movie. I love the soundtrack of the movie. I love the flow of the movie, the feel of the movie, the concept of the movie. Everything is just fantastic. And AJ, of course, has a video that exists of his. And eventually, there'll be a video of sorts that exists of mine. Ashley, do you have words on Air?
Nah, it's a very good. Yeah, it's a very good film. It was just more convenient at the time to see it on Amazon rather than see it at the cinema. Barely because I don't know. Cinema seems to be pricing itself out for me, and I ran out of free tickets to use. So, certainly, it's probably somewhere in my top 10 at the minute for the half year in terms of quality stuff.
Alrighty. We move on to Spencer's thoughts on product-based movies like Tetris, Hot Cheetos, Beanie Babies, and another movie that fits in this lineup, Blackberry.
God.
I haven't seen the Cheetos movie, but I keep seeing stuff about how it's basically bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's basically a fictional movie. But like I love up at these movies when they hear about their existence and what they are. But I feel like The Social Network forever paved the way for movies like this to work if they're done well. So I always kind of get excited when I hear about stuff like this. It's just a matter of whether the movie's well executed or not. And so far, most of them have been. I still haven't seen Tetris yet either, but I keep hearing good things about it.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Blackberry, which we'll talk about soon.
Heck yeah, we will.
So yeah.
Tetris is a good adaptation of the story. There's some bits in it that are sort of they've over dramatized. Like there is a car chase where I'm like, I doubt there was like a car chase because lives were threatened, because I don't think it was that sort of relationship. But you know, the story that's told about the rights issues and all that with Tetris is certainly something that's well portrayed in the film. It's just tweaked a little bit to make it a little bit too tasty to make it dramatic because they were scared that if they just made something which was enough of a sort of political thriller style thing that it needs a car chase, damn it.
I will say, like AJ just mentioned a few minutes ago, I do concur. This also fits in my favorite films of the year list. I love Blackberry. That movie's phenomenal, and I really hope when the award season starts officially, when we can talk about it next month, that it comes up somehow, some way, because it deserves anything it gets.
I'm trying to remember what the Beanie Babies film is. I'm trying to remember what it's called. Oh, that was it, the Beanie Bubble.
Thoughts on Sweet Dreams in Nashville? Could they be done in a movie club?
For the first thing I want to say is I hope it doesn't sound like I'm talking over anybody. I think there's a delay going on.
Yeah.
Judging by the pauses. So yeah, I talking and then I just start talking over them because to me it sounds like there's a silence and then I start. So if it sounds like that, I'm not doing that intentionally. Sweet Dreams was just kind of another biopic to me. It has, for some reason, it has one line in it that has stuck with me forever because I know so many people I can use it with. And it's something like Ed Harris and Jessica Lange are like arguing, and then he just says like black, and then he says, "I just wanted to see if you would say white." And it's like I would love to bring Nashville to Movie Club. Owen probably won't participate because it's almost 3 hours. But but yes, I would love to talk about Nashville in depth. I haven't seen it in a really long ass time, but it's like ultimate Altman as far as like ensembles and feeling like very epic, despite being about people that are so leading not very epic lives. Yeah, I'd love to go in depth with that.
Okay. Favorite fishing scenes in a movie? Spencer, I think we've had this question a couple times. Because I always bring up Without a Paddle.
Is there a fishing scene in Without a Paddle? I think you're confused.
Yeah, it was not canoes.
Because I don't remember getting.
It's not. Canoes.
I don't remember getting this
question
before, and I don't remember getting this question. And I don't remember a fishing scene in Without a Paddle.
Yeah, the only two that I was.
Like we've had this before.
The only two I was thinking of was Jaws.
Yeah.
Because Quint is awesome. And Grumpy Old Man because it's most of the film. Or it feels like most of the film. It may not actually be. It just does.
We've done so many of these. For them, I thought we've done this question before. My apologies.
I mean, there's always the possibility we could have, but I don't remember.
I mean, if Shirley was able to do like a Wikipedia for the stuff we've covered on the channel, that'd be fantastic. But I don't have the time. No one does. So there's always that.
I hate to say, something is objectively something, but if you were to ask me, I would say objectively the best fishing scene of all time is Godfather 2. If you
but okay.
want to go if you want to go comedic, The Great Outdoors is a movie that comes up a lot and has one. or actually, it's more of an anti fishing scene than a fishing scene. A river runs through it. Obviously, take your pick. I have a soft spot for salmon fishing in the Yemen. One of the most painfully romantic movies I've maybe ever seen.
That's fair.
I'm sure there's aren't they aren't they fishing when they have the sex talk in Boys in the Hood? That's a good one.
Think so. Any movie we'd be surprised you haven't seen, shocked you haven't seen.
Uh, the one the one I hear the most about that I still haven't seen is One False Move, which I'm planning on changing when the Criterion comes out, which is right about now, isn't it? But I think mine is more TV shows probably. Like how I love Jason Bateman so much and I always say that, but I've never seen an episode of Ozark. Stuff like that would probably be mine. I've listened to most of the episodes of the Smartless podcast, but
Oh no.
oh, did we lose Ashley's sound?
Yeah, we have officially lost Ashley's sound.
There we go.
You have bad internet. Ashley loses
Yeah, that was the thing.
sound.
It was the holy grail. The internet died at the same time my mic died. Like, the only one I can think of is I've never seen Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves
Huh.
in full. See
Interesting.
clips here and there and whatever, but I've never actually bothered to sit for it. Maybe it's the trauma of Bryan Adams being #1 on the chart every week. I don't know.
I mean, we could talk all day about stuff that everybody's seen that I haven't. I've seen sequels, but I've never seen the Terminator. I've never seen the original Matrix.
Mission Impossible?
I've never seen the original Mission Impossible. We used to watch TV series.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could like talk about it. Like, for example, like lots of movies that I have not been able to see. Like, oh, I like the sequel. Well, if you watch the first one, you may not like it as much. I was like, well, sorry, that's what I have to draw from. Favorite old style dinner in a movie?
Is that supposed to be diner?
I'm gonna go with yes.
I was gonna say Shrek 2. For the sort of like the angry sort of food fight that develops between Shrek and Fiona's dad. And you know, Julie Andrews complains to the dad, and you know, Diaz says Shrek, and then of course bloody Donkey's like Donkey. Like just that sort of style. That's what I'd see as an old style dinner, sort of like a grand table where people, you know, like a dinner party style thing. Any thoughts, AJ, on old style dinner? Hold on. People are saying stuff and there's no sound coming. Now I'm very confused. Let's switch to Craig. Let's see what my output sound is. Actually, no, let's just...
Odd.
Well, the sound came back. I'm trying to work out what the hell happened. That's a new panic. Anyway. 3, 2, 1, we're back in the room.
Connection.
OBS was getting no sound off Discord. That's kind of confusing. Anyway. Go ahead.
Okay. Favorite Jeremy Irons performance?
Well, there's The Lion King, obviously. Reversal of Fortune would be a cop-out answer, even though it's up there. I think of supporting roles, like Margin Call.
Mm-hmm.
Or, he's one of the only good things about the Bradley Cooper movie, The Words. They have a really good scene together in, like, a park, where I was, like, friends him, and that's the only thing I remember about that movie. I need to, I didn't really get into Dead Ringers, but I got the book for it, so I'm hoping I'm hoping the book will help me understand the movie better, I guess. So, yeah.
I'd probably say is Dead Ringers is probably his strongest in terms of lead, but in terms of overall, I was trying to think. Danny at the Champion of the World, he's pretty good as the dad. He's pretty solid as the wealthy guy in High Rise as well. I really liked him in that. And he might be the only reason I watch Pink Panther 2 more than once.
I have an answer. AJ knows my answer. I don't think anybody on this panel does. Otherwise, anybody watching this show right now would not know my answer. My answer is Professor Hubert in Lolita.
I can't remember. Have you or have you not seen Kubrick's version?
I have not. I've read the book and I've seen Adrian Lynn's version, but I've not seen Kubrick's version. So usually mine is I haven't read the book, but I've seen the movies. But in this case, I actually have read the book. I always like pencil it in for somewhere down the line, and I never get around to it.
If you're talking outside of his film stuff, I still say either in his early life, Brideshead Revisited, or in his latter years, his portrayal of Henry IV in The Hollow Crown set of films that Mendes did back in, what was that? That was series 1 of the lot, because it was, I'm trying to remember, did Henry the Second and I think Henry the Fourth parts 1 and 2, And then the second season was. Oh no, there was also Henry the Fifth, and then the season 2 was both Henry the Sixes and Richard the Third.
Favorite jokes in the live action Scooby Doo movies?
All the ones that immediately spring to mind are from the second movie. Like, the best one's probably, I think, Coolsville Sucks. There's the Buff Shaggy bit, of course.
Yeah.
I love when he's punching Shaggy repeatedly, and I didn't feel that turns into you're pushing your luck, Scoob. That's one of my favorites. Those are all from the second movie.
I think the first one, just with the whole concept of making Scrappy the villain because everyone knows he's kind of a dick. Just that, generally.
I just like, honestly, just like above all, as like a blanket statement, I just want to say how brilliant Matthew Lillard plays the character. How aloof Shaq is, and he is perfect for that role. It's like, what's your name? Oh, it's Mary Jane. That's like my favorite name ever.
When they're making the sausages or whatever, and the smoke's coming out of the top of the van. Oh, it was eggplant burgers they were making. That's what it was.
Spencer says, thoughts on that stupid Ruby Gilman Teenage Kraken? Dude, it's not bad. It's not like my favorite movie of the year, but you could do a lot worse. It was enjoyable.
It's just funny to me that you're watching like all the new releases now.
Yeah,
Like me and you switch places for the year, but it's like the things that you have access to. I was trying to figure
Oh no.
out. Well, am I still here?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, you're somewhat here.
The fact that you rejected past lives. You rejected past lives, but you kept telling me how much we're making Ruby Gilman a priority, and it was so weird. It's like,
Well,
I don't understand
no,
why.
I didn't reject Past Lives. It never lined up when it came to how I do my schedule. It was either too early or too late. And I couldn't do either one with the way that my plans go.
You got you were very apprehensive when I told you it was an A24 movie.
I think I should be from now on, because I just realized that I don't like A24. But, however, Talk to Her is A24, and I'll be giving that a shot this weekend. I don't know how well that's going to go. I mean, I'll say right now, if I get a chance, because I think everybody, huh?
Wow, the delay's real.
I legitly hate this. I legitly hate this.
Is it Talk to Me? You're talking about the Hand movie?
Yes.
Because as Talk to Her, the Almodovar movie.
Yes.
Well, Talk to Me is also the name of the Don Cheadle radio movie. So yeah.
Also correct. I am fed up with this internet tonight. We have so much to get through, and we don't have stable internet for anybody right now.
I mean, mine's stable. It's just the technical issues.
Thoughts on the Flash tanking?
I was a little surprised, but in retrospect, I guess I'm not. I don't know. I'm sure there's a lot of people that were put off by Ezra Miller.
Yeah.
But I also wonder if that's getting not that I'm not saying fuck Ezra Miller, but I do wonder if that's getting too much credit when you look at like the rest of the franchises that aren't doing well. It's like how we've kind of finally reached that point everybody was warning us about, that we would reach this point where we don't give a shit about this anymore.
Well, it's superhero burnout, but the problem is it's a different company. Like I can't say turn my back on, because that's not correct, because Spider-Man still exists. But for the most part, I don't care about the Marvel movies anymore at all. At all. And I don't care about anything in DC unless it's Batman. I guess you could guess. Yeah. So it's like, I'm not going to get burnt out on those movies because they don't come around as often. But it seems like we're getting a new superhero movie like daily at this point. It's turning into like the National Lampoon's version of itself.
That's been the case for like the last decade now.
Pretty much. And honestly,
I'm guessing maybe.
If I knew of a way to fix the delay, I would. But
it's like.
Go ahead, AJ.
What was I saying? The James Gunn thing.
Mm-hmm.
This universe doesn't matter now, but at the same time, oh, how many people know, like how much of the inner workings like a regular person knows? I have no idea. Like if it would have been affected by the fact that this universe that the Flash is set in is dead now because the James Gunn thing's going to take over. I don't know if how much that had to do with it too, where it's like it's kind of pointless because it's going to set up stuff that's going to be a dead end because this movie is stopping here.
I mean, it's possible, but I mean, there's also fans out there, just like myself, that are willing to just watch anything that involves Batman or anything that involves insert superhero here. I mean, everybody marked out for getting Michael Keaton back in the Batsuit again. That was all fine and dandy, but I had Affleck, and that's who I wanted to see in the Batsuit more often. So everybody got what they wanted as Batman fans.
They did.
They got to at least see both of them in the suit. They got a little bit more than what they've had previously.
I was gonna say because bearded hermit Bruce Wayne cliche was not. I wonder how much word of mouth had to do with it too. Because if the movie was great, like the way it was built up to be, maybe that would have been different. But when it came out, it was like, oh, they had a gold mine here, and it's a movie that's really getting worse to me in retrospect.
Really?
I think it's mainly just bitterness over how dirty they did the Keaton Batman. They did the not only well, I guess you could say there's obvious thing, but also just the worst they could have done.
Now we've had that as
In many
deleted scene
ways.
as well. Now we've had that deleted scene as well of the fact that he stopped is because he killed a kid in front of the parent. So basically, he did exactly what happened to his parents with him having to see it in front of his own eyes. Which is like, did we really need that though?
I'm good. I'm good with the '89 movie and Batman Returns being Keaton's Batman like elves.
Okay. Spencer also talked about Blue Beetle being tracking under 20 million. Spencer, no matter how much that trailer comes out, no matter times they put it on something, and as a former projectionist, I know that it will be on a lot of things because that's how Warner Brothers operates. But I don't give a damn about Blue Beetle whatsoever.
Yeah, I'm seeing if changing the region changes anything. In case that's an issue. Right.
It says it's the internet itself, so I'm feeling it's an internet issue that we can't fix.
Yeah. We'll see how it goes.
Most clear you've looked to me so far.
Yeah, I concur, but
I'll say that.
And anybody that is listening, whether live or on archive right now, thank you for continuing to stick around for the technical issues tonight. We appreciate you all. I recommend Roger. Wow, take a shot. There we go. I recommend Robert Englund's documentary. Great watch. Oh no.
What? There's nothing I can react to. I don't know whether it's even out here. So like, okay, I'll keep that in mind. You know.
Spencer says I've seen Past Lives. Look out for it for Best Picture. Real tearjerker. Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a movie I'm going to regret not seeing. Hopefully, I'll have a chance to. I definitely have a chance to see it if it does the awards love that people think it's going to. And you know what happens when Owen doubts a movie performing well that everybody seems to like but him, or in general, really, it always ends up being the movie that everybody flocks towards. And I've heard good things. It did not ever line up to do it. I wanted to. I just never got around to it. Celine Song is a director to look out for. Spencer says, I think Glenn Close will never win an Oscar. She may just be Gloria Swanson with no wins.
Well, there's nothing like in things that are coming out now that seem to stand
I would
out
say
as
it
sort
probably
of,
doesn't.
You know, Glenn Close sort of award contenders. There's the horror thing for Netflix that is with Lee Daniels, and then there's sort of the two comedies she's doing, Brothers, sort of spiritual successor to Twins, and then that Back in Action thing that Seth Gordon's co-writing and directing.
AJ, thoughts on...
Just kidding. I get worried every time I hear Lee Daniels' name.
Oh, yeah. Tell me about it. So many jokes that can be made that cannot be made anymore. That was a much different time in life.
So with it's Lee Daniels' style and the way like they're. Why the fuck is everybody in his movies sweating profusely? What is that?
Everything takes place in a southern state where it's always humid.
I need a thorough shower every time I see a Lee Daniels movie, I feel like.
Thoughts on Caged? I think Eleanor Parker should have won the Oscar that year.
Caged is fine. I do find it interesting that like one of those women in prison movies is an Oscar nominated movie. Because I remember Hope Emerson's nomination being earned all.
I'm switching back because now I'm
So
paranoid.
Parker was Judy Holliday. She got beat by the performance I consider my favorite time. So clearly I can't agree with Parker should have won, but yeah, it's fine. The women in prison movies kind of, especially like the good, but
Hold on.
it's fine.
Do it again. For one last time, for all time's sake. Right.
It's all becoming comical, ladies and gentlemen. Favorite Diane. Okay, take a shot. Favorite and least favorite Diane Warren song.
I'm gonna have.
Oh no.
I'm trying to think of like, because I'm not necessarily looking for anything that appeared in a movie. I'm looking for actual stuff that got in the charts and everything.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, there's an actual page. I don't want top tens. I just want Diane Warren songs, please. Thank you. Oh, God, this is a list. Can I look by artists?
AJ, do you have an answer?
Well, the thing about it is, I'm just gonna buy her movie songs because that's what I'm gonna know.
Same.
I don't know that I have a least favorite, but I just have a soft spot for. I know Andrew McCarthy was doing an interview recently and talked about how bad that song is.
It's not bad.
And it's like I think he said he just thinks it's corny. He doesn't think it's bad. But
That's fair.
yeah. That song made me love a Kristen. That's a miracle.
I mean, technically speaking, that is a correct answer, 100%. No matter how big of a fan of Starship you are, that song is always going to hit, especially if you're a movie fan.
Even though Mannequin is a fucking dreadful movie, that also speaks volumes to how the movie doesn't taint the song.
I mean, for me, obviously, it's I Don't Want to Miss a Thing. Because that song is always going to hit for me, given its correlation in my life. Being the only song I danced to at senior prom. So that song is always going to be impactful for me.
It was your Angus moment.
It was my biggest moment, 100%. And honestly, like I look at this list of all the things that are coming out, and I mean, Rhythm of the Night's always been something I've enjoyed. And I've always had a soft spot for Unbreak My Heart by Toni Braxton. Some good stuff here, honestly. Diane Warren has performed a lot of great songs in the past. One I don't like. God. I don't think there's an answer to that.
What did you think of Applause when you heard it?
Yeah. Yeah, well,
I was gonna say that for worse, but I didn't know if I was just attacking the movie again or not.
That's a fair assessment.
I never realised she wrote Sugar Babes 2 Lost in You. That's actually one that I think is pretty solid.
She's wrote 497 songs. Thanks, Spotify.
In terms of, I'm trying to think of a sort of soundtrack work. In terms of the work,
There You'll Be works. I Turn to You. I mean, these are some of the songs I really enjoy too. Don't Turn Around's always been a bop.
I think that track I'm Standing With You from Breakthrough I didn't think was exceptional. Whereas I got the idea of I'll fight and, stand up for something until it happens to you, and Scene, and somehow you do, and Applause. I'm Standing With You never got through, but then again, I think that's the only one that didn't get any sort of release in the UK, I think. Because normally the American Christian films never do.
And we can also go to this question like forever and a day. So Spencer says, rewatch Moving Violations. Hey, you're welcome, Spencer. I'm so happy I've put that in people's minds. Still one of the most popular movie clubs we've ever done on here.
I think the most still.
Yes. For now.
I just can't get past the shirts fucking. That's
with the music in the background from a Casio synthesizer. What do you do for a living? NASA. I'm a rocket scientist. I love that movie. I do not have any problem saying so. Spencer says, great film. Watch Fallen for the 15th, Frailty for the 25th, and had his 105th viewing of Pacific Heights.
I'm trying to remember where we were. I'm trying to remember where we were when the movie club happened and how much it's gone up since then.
So, Ashley, a question is asked by Spencer. What is your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, God. That can flip and change from many things. Probably at the minute, I'd say Boogie Nights.
Oh, nice. Very cool, actually.
Magnolia comes into the mix every so often.
Excellent.
On Her Majesty's Secret Service and Skyfall get in the mix. Probably either the first Anchorman or the Wake Up Ron Burgundy. The sort of not the Anchorman .5 or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
That'll be an interesting one to bring up in Movie Club because I think it's more accessible than it was, at least at the time.
We watched that movie non-stop in my old place.
Scarface, rotates around. There's like a pool of films, but I'd probably say at the minute Boogie Nights.
Nice. I'm still reading Diane Warren songs. Okay, Brian. Personal Oscar lineup of 2016. The adapted screenplay lineup was Elle, A Man Called Ove, My Life is a Zucchini, Nocturnal Animals, and your winner, Arrival.
Good 5.
Florence Foster Jenkins ran for original screenplay against Jackie, Manchester by the Sea, 20th Century Women, and your winner, Zootopia. Best Supporting Actress was Viola Davis for Fences, Elle Fanning for 20th Century Women, Naomi Harris for Moonlight, Rooney Mara for Lion, and Charlize won for Kubo.
Kubo.
Interesting.
I love Kubo. Kubo is awesome. Lucas Hedges ran for Best Supporting Actor for Manchester by the Sea, Simon Helberg for Florence Foster Jenkins, Matthew McConaughey for Kubo, and the winner was J-Ren. No, reverse that. Look it up. Jeremy Renner for Arrival, and the winner was Michael Shannon for Nocturnal Animals.
Yes.
That is a correct statement in every way possible. Actress was Annette Bening for 20th Century Women, Ollie Cravalho for Moana, Jennifer Goodwin for Zootopia, Isabelle Huppert for Elle, and the winner was Emma Stone for La La Land.
I praise Oli.
Brian says,
I praise Oli for basically having the balls to say, no, I'm not doing a live action Moana. It was 8 years ago. Just watch the animated film.
yes. Or go to the parks and see the live action characters roaming around.
At the premiere of The Haunted Mansion.
If they show up. Actor. Don't give me some hate here. Ryan Gosling for La La Land. Hugh Grant for Florence Foster Jenkins. Rolf Lassard for A Man Called Ove. Number 2 is Denzel for Fences. Ooh. Your winner was Casey Affleck. Be quiet, AJ.
I fucking knew it. As soon as we got the preface, I was like, it's fucking Casey Affleck. I know it. You will never silence me, Brian, about that.
AJ, did you curse Colonel Pash when you saw him come on the screen?
The voice. It was like, I know. It's like that goddamn voice.
I told you on the phone, I was like, I knew it was coming. It's got to be somebody big. And all of a sudden I heard that voice. I was like, God dang it. And then 24 hours later, I got to relive it again. Director was Denis Villeneuve for Arrival, Ezra Elderman for O.J. Made in America, Mike Mills for 20th Century Women, Byron Howard and Rich Moore for Zootopia, and the winner, Damien Chazelle for La La Land. Best Picture, Arrival, Elle, Fences, Florence Foster Jenkins, Kubo, Manchester, O.J., 20th Century Women, Zootopia, and yes, the true winner of Best Picture, no matter what anybody says, before I moved here, La La Land. So we're going to take it home with Brian's game as we always do, so we're going to move on to Josie's comments now. Hey, Popcast team, recent reads: The Storyteller by Brandon Hobson, Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan, the author of Foster What the Quiet Girl was based on, and The Sea Fairies by L. Frank Baum. Sea Fairies, as suggested by the title, an underwater set fantasy with mermaids. Hey, Ashley, have you read any good books taking place on boats, beaches, or underwater?
I mean, Benchley's Jaws is actually just as gripping as a book as it is a film. That I probably rate as one of the ones that's up there.
AJ, can you chime in on this question as well? You've read a lot more than I have.
Not off the top of my head, that wouldn't be obvious.
Sure.
I literally just finished a book yesterday. No, this morning. But I don't want to talk about it until we're going to talk about it. Which we will.
Get there very soon. Brian does, before we go back into Josie's comments, Brian does state as an addendum, yes, like the Oscars, I did snub Amy Adams for Arrival because she was the weakest thing, because with that Nocturnal Animals, she gave an emotionless performance. Josie saw Barbie yesterday. I'm seeing Oppenheimer tomorrow. Barbie had beautiful costumes, production design. I liked some puns, but I felt it got too preachy. I don't go to a Barbie movie for a lecture. I wish it was more like early 90s, early 2000s and had songs like C'est La Vie by Bewitched. It's funny you mentioned that song, Josie, because a friend of mine on Instagram used that exact song for her Instagram video while she was watching the movie. Like her little Instagram story was to that song. Would have been funny in the movie if Barbie walked into the Barbie Museum from Rat Race, not realizing it wasn't actually a Barbie museum. Josie, I think Rat Race gets referenced so much on this channel, inadvertently, it's probably going to make its way to Movie Club just by muscle memory at this point.
Surely, eventually.
First time watches since last, closely watched Trains, Snake Eyes, Trouble in Paradise, Captain Ron, hell yeah. Not one less, Blood Tea and Red String, Midnight Cowboy, The Awful Truth, that brings back some memories, The China Syndrome, Silver Streak, Raggedy Ann, and Andy Musical Adventure. Josie, go ahead, AJ.
What an interesting group of movies to have together.
I got a better one for you. Josie's questions now delve into the trivia on Captain Ron. Josie, I love Captain Ron. I think I've mentioned it several times. I have a theatrical experience watching Captain Ron. Both of the cars that Captain Ron, I just love, just called him Captain Ron. Most of the cars that Captain Ron drives in the movie are missing a headlight, the same side as his missing eye. Of course. Captain Ron, introducing himself to the Harveys, says his name is Ron Rico. Ron Rico is a rum brand.
Of course.
Captain Ron is the original Jack Sparrow, and tell me when I'm lying.
Yeah.
100%. Martin Short was originally going to be Captain Ron. This was according to one of the screenwriters, but Russell was going to play Short's role, the family man. But they got drunk one night and decided to switch.
Yeah, it makes more sense the way it is, I think.
And having seen Martin Short live a couple months ago, I can concur with this comment being probably correct. If you get the opportunity, please take it. The name pirate of the pirate's boat is Albondiga, Spanish for meatball. One of the three movies that Kurt Russell has a patched eye in: Escape from New York, Escape from LA, of course, where he's the iconic Snake Plissken.
Added
Giant Syndrome.
in Metal Gear trivia here.
Oh, go ahead.
I think that's why Solid Snake is called Solid Snake, and why when he has to use his pseudonym in Metal Gear Solid 2 because of that clusterfuck of a plot, the pseudonym he gives is I don't know if it was Iroquois, his first name, but the surname is Plissken. So technically, he is Snake Plissken. He doesn't have an eye
It just
patch.
took you that
The
long to
irony
realize
is,
that?
the irony is, it's the other brother Solidus that has the sort of one eye, very akin to Snake's portrait. Well, Snake's escape from portrayal by Kurt Russell.
Brian continues. The only other. Go ahead, AJ.
I don't remember for sure, but wasn't there also a thing about how Captain Ron's eye patch, Snake Plissken's eye patch, and Stuntman like Scar and Death Proof are all in the same eye?
Yes, they are.
Is that the thing?
100% is the thing. Speaking of that movie conversation that we had like an hour and a half ago, one of my favorite things at working at the theater was getting to preview Grindhouse at 3 o'clock in the morning. And Watchmen, mind you. Fun experiences when you're the only one in the theater and it's that late.
It was about midnight we saw it, I think. But
yeah, I know. I definitely remember watching Planet Terror at like 2:30 in the morning because I think we went to get McDonald's first.
We watched Watchmen around midnight, but it was the before the actual. It was the night before the actual midnight show.
Right. The only other performance Brian found emotionless was just recent. Steffi Shu in the movie that I shall not name.
That performance is mostly emotion. That's a weird thing to say, Brian.
Brian, I hate that movie for many reasons, as everyone knows. But that's one thing I will never say about it. Okay. China Syndrome was nominated for Best Lead Actor, Jack Lemmon. Jane Fonda for Best Lead Actress, Original Screenplay, and Best Art Set Decoration. Only film in that year to get into both lead actor and actress. I wonder if it would have gotten in a field of 10 it had acting and writing going for it. Kind of surprised it wasn't nominated for editing or even sound.
Yeah, I would assume it would get in at 10, surely.
When the film
was the 70s was basically the era of like the paranoid thriller.
Yes.
And the China Syndrome, even with all of those choices, the China Syndrome is literally the first one I think of every time.
When the film was released on March 16, 1979, nuclear power executives soon lambasted the picture for being sheer fiction and a character assassination of an entire industry.
Yeah, that's not suspicious at all.
Not at all. 12 days after its launch, 3 Mile Island nuclear accident occurred near Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. We got a chime in from Bosnian Edits for Josie. It was 3 clown emojis. That just had to be mentioned. Richard Dreyfuss, originally cast as the cameraman, but pulled out shortly before filming to start. Michael Douglas, who produced the film, was placed in the role instead. Fonda broke her ankle on the set, so she could no longer take ballet, taking up aerobics, which led to her famous exercise video franchise. Interesting.
The China Syndrome caused that videotape fat. There it is.
The Rocketdyne reactor had numerous failures and accidents due to experimental nature, not shoddy workmanship, and finally shut down in 2006. And to this day remains in place as one of the first nuclear reactors in California. Columbia Pictures wanted to originally change the movie title Studio execs wanted that, but they referred to the research that showed the public tended to think the word syndrome was a medical term associated with a disease. Or a character that Disney didn't deserve to kill.
Do
I
we
don't
need to go
care.
through this again? How many Syndrome killed?
It's Jason Lee. I don't care.
How many people did Syndrome kill?
He did not need to make the Alvin movies to make him relevant again. I'm sorry.
I thought it was My Name
Yeah,
is
My Name
Earl.
is Earl.
It wasn't the Alvin films, it was that.
The alternate titles were Power, Eyewitness. But interestingly, during the next decade of the 80s, Hollywood movies were actually made with those titles.
Eyewitness was just 2 years later.
Power and Eyewitness were flops. But Jane Fonda is the one who made the studio accept the China Syndrome title because of her clout. Ashley, any good conspiracy thriller books you can recommend?
Ooh. Books is an interesting one. I was thinking more along the lines of films, but I mean, I guess the Bourne series would be conspiracy stuff. And again, the Ludlum books are just as tasty as the movies have been over the years. Those are the ones I'd most go for, because the problem is, like, I can't recommend too much Jane Patterson because a lot of that does feel very cut and paste. The Day of the Jackal, though, is a very good book. I'd say better than better than both movies that have been adapted from it.
I would say that I slightly prefer Six Days of Condor as the book, and the movie was 3 Days of the Condor. I think I slightly prefer the book to the movie.
All right.
They cut the days in half.
Which Greek plays have you read, if any? I recently read The Frogs by Aristophanes.
Can't think of any Greek plays off the top of my head.
That's really weird. Because this question seems so random, but I am actually reading a Greek play for a future video.
Nice.
I've seen an adaptation of Medea. That's probably the only one I can think of, which is very good, with the late great Helen McCrory as Medea. That's the only one I can think of that I've, I guess, quote unquote, read / seen. A lot of the stuff, because it never comes up sort of in my, it never came up in my literary thing. It was too old. It's all got to be modern stuff. I never really dipped too much into the Greek historical stuff.
So, Brian continues. Go ahead, AJ. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's the audio feedback from
Saying anything?
Extra
Hello?
Paranoid.
Are we good now?
Well, that's a subjective statement, sir.
Is this good now?
For now. Brian continues and elaborates more. Well, that's because it's basically you take May from Turning Red, putting her as a supporting character, taking the panda transformation out because both characters confront their moms about them growing up.
Is that in response? What is that in response? Is that in response to Everything Everywhere All at Once or what?
Yes.
Okay.
Talking about the emotionless performance. That's his reason.
Oh,
That being said, with news of the strikes, Josie asks, what are your favorite movies involving unions and or strikes?
I feel like it's not a coincidence that there's not that many.
Well, there's one that immediately jumps to my mind, and I don't know if I'm sure, AJ, you've probably seen it. There's this fantastic movie from the year I was born called Take This Job and Shove It. And I think that is the correct answer.
I know of it, but I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it?
No.
God, if I would have known that, keep that in mind for later.
All right, good. That's okay. I have another answer for that previous question of what movie will be shocked you haven't seen.
Oh yeah. I don't know many people that know it. The only reason I knew of the existence of the movie was because the Johnny Paycheck song, and he's in the movie, by the way, and the fact that another love of mine from childhood was a big point in this video and this movie back in the day, and that was Bigfoot. It was the first movie to feature monster trucks. So of course that's the reason I like the movie. But I like the movie because it's fun.
I mean, the only one that's springing to mind is Norma Ray, which is the obvious answer. But I'm going to think of others.
That's why I went with something different that I knew no one was going to go with.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like it. Hollywood did it on purpose. Any strike movies or union movies.
Brian says, I'd love to see a biopic about the Disney animator strike of 1941 just to show Walt himself was not 100% perfect, but that's never going to happen.
I was going to say the Ealing comedy I'm Alright, Jack. Probably, although comedic, sort of accurately predicted the strikes at that time. And I guess also shout out to Pride, covering the miners' strikes and standing up with the Pride movement from 10-ish years ago.
So, Josie has some. Oh no. Do we get the reverb? Because I hear it a little bit.
Not off my end.
Okay, thought I did. Anyway, there are rumors Warner Brothers may push back Dune, Color Purple, and Aquaman to 2024. Do you believe this will happen?
Well, the reason they would do it is because the actors won't be able to promote those, but I don't think those movies need much promotion. All their fan bases know they exist.
Right.
If Dune can have an extra year or whatever to get the CGI looking better, that one I'm fine with delaying. The other two are just getting delayed because of the strike issues, I think. Dune's the only one that I'd be, I don't want to say happy with, but if it means that we get an even better film out of it. The other ones are probably in the can and done, especially Aquaman 2, because I think they just want everything that they've already promised to be out there and done, so they can start afresh with a fresh piece of paper.
Well, another thing also is Warner Brothers is probably drooling at the thought of having Timothée Chalamet and Zendaya going around promoting the movie.
Yeah.
But Chalamet and Zendaya's fan bases are already so obsessive they're already there. They're already there opening day. They know.
Funny you mentioned that, because to tie this in, Challengers got actually delayed to April,
Oh.
which I was not aware of that because the trailer that I saw 2 days ago did not say this.
I don't even know what that is.
That is Luca Guadagnino's new tennis comedy. I guess we have another one alongside the 15 Love that just came out on Amazon, as well as Wimbledon.
It's Mike Feist and Josh O'Connor too. They're two best friends that end up competing for Zendaya's love.
From what I can tell, the plot is basically they were all young prospects as tennis players. She gets injured and now purposefully puts her current partner against her ex-partner. So weirdly, although she does very little in terms of actual tennis in the thing, she's probably a big pivotal part of the thing. I mean, she's the one that's first listed, so... I think it's supposed to be the opening film of Venice.
Supposed to be.
My only thing is, if a lot of people talk about it at Venice and it doesn't come out for ages, okay, it's a different length of time, but is that going to harm it? Like it happened with Indiana Jones and Elemental, where you had all the talk about it, and then people had to wait nearly like 3-4 weeks, or in the case of Challengers, 8 months for it to actually show up.
It got an interesting reaction when I played Barbie both times too.
I take that back. They pulled it from Venice to coincide with the strike issue.
There you go. Would be hilarious if the strike is actually resolved before or by the fall festivals and the studios are like, oops, we effed up delaying these films. Just gives us stuff to talk about. Don't forget when they were trying to do a new category for the Oscars, that created an entire podcast that pretty much doesn't matter anymore.
What'll be really good, at least in terms of Venice, is all people are going to see is like Andrei Rublev director's cut and Days of Heaven, and all these old films that are really good.
So Josie asks, it says, this may be a vain question on my behalf. Never, Josie, not at all. Ask me specifically if I can point one out off the top of my head. What has been my favorite poem of hers? Josie does a lot of various types of poetry, and she posts it on her Instagram, and she has it like I see the Instagram stories and everything. I think if I had to guess, honestly, I'm just going back to look because sometimes things go in one ear and out the other. But I do read every single one of them, and I do think you're very talented. The one that jumps out at me, probably because it's one of the main things I see when I pull up your Instagram, is probably sweeping my side of the street. It just feels like a very jovial poem, and it's very it's got a good purpose to it. I like the fact that it's basically saying that don't worry about it, everything's going to be okay. And sometimes you just need that, as Ashley shovels food in his mouth.
I'm hungry, damn it. It's 1 a.m.
I know it is. I get it. It just wonderful segue. I just started watching this BBC show, Monarch of the Glen.
Oh.
I find it interesting thus far.
It's a shame that they like cancelled that after so many years, but I think it was mainly because Robert Carlyle was a bit more in demand again in Hollywood from around that time, because I think Once Upon a Time was what, 08, 09, I think that started. That he was in for a number of years.
Josie asks, with the success of Barbie, they should make a live action or even stop motion Raggedy Ann and Andy movie. Honestly, Josie, I'm surprised it hasn't happened.
Stop motion would be interesting, because you are gonna, if this should start a trend, you want them to be creative with it and not the corporate. So let's just do that thing, only more lazily.
Who would you have direct it?
If it was stop motion.
We'll go with that. Live action or
in general. There's only so many directors that do stop motion. I don't have an answer.
I don't either, actually.
Considering how he is wanting to do different genres of films, and of course a lot of Raggedy Ann stuff is based around music, get Damien Chazelle to do it.
Yeah, I'd be okay with that.
You know, get a Pacer. You could do an interesting Pacer and Paul soundtrack.
Oh yeah, for
around
sure.
Raggedy Ann stuff.
Brian says Zendaya is also a producer on Challengers. That makes sense. He got pushed back because of the strike. Welcome, Fred Jacobs. Hello, people of Earth. Stephanie Shu was amazing. I agree with some of those words. Owen, are you a parrot head? Do you like Jimmy Buffett? Have you been to Margaritaville? No, I'm not a parrot head, Josie. Jimmy Buffett, I could take or leave. I have been to Margaritaville. It's one of the worst dining experiences I've ever had. And the second one after that was very so-so. So, not a fan. Jovial, like beach music, but I mean, the music's fine. I don't like the food. I'm asking, I got Sirius XM a little while ago, and my mom and I have been listening to Margaritaville radio.
Right, so you're saying the food was bad?
It wasn't my cup of tea. They're not known for the stuff that I normally would eat.
Oh, because I was going to say, wasting away a Margaritaville.
Oh God, no! When I think about Margaritaville, the only thing that comes to mind is someone that used to be on this network. This would have been a great story to tell for the anniversary show. Singing the Stone Cold Steve Austin version of Margaritaville during our staff meetings because our manager wanted him to. I am not lying one bit about this.
And AJ, such a twist.
Yeah.
Singing the song at staff meetings because the manager wanted. That was like, whoa, it can't get any higher. Oh shit!
I think my favorite one of his quips when it comes to the manager that we're talking about, I would walk in to watch a movie with AJ, and sometimes stuff would be out of focus, so I'm like, of course I have to go and fix it myself. And then something would happen, and like chaos would break with the print or something like that, and of course they don't know how to fix it, so I'm the scapegoat. And he's like, "You on my clock?" I'm like, "No, I'm watching a movie." He goes, "Are you on my clock?" And I was like, "I guess." "All right then, go take care of it." AJ, I'm not lying, am I?
No, I think the tone of this story might give people a different idea of what was going on there, because that makes him sound like he was, but it was different than that.
No, it wasn't a bad thing at all. It was just basically like it was matter of factly, but it was in a joking manner. Like, come on, like I pay your salary, you're on my clock, basically like that. You have to know the person to understand the correlation of the story. Josie says, how about the Margenheimer Margaritaville Oppenheimer crossover? After all, Einstein was a surfer. Of course, that's a Jimmy Buffett song. Talk about I don't know where I'm gonna go when the volcano blows. But I'm bum ching. Rimshot. Imagine if they had One Piece toys as kids' meals at Margaritaville restaurants. Josie, I know of the existence of One Piece, and it always keeps popping up randomly at work. And I think I have you to thank for that. Happy Shark Week! Jason Momoa is hosting this year.
If I see that goddamn Jason Momoa commercial one more time, I'm gonna lose my mind.
To be fair, he's acting like he did in Fast X, so I mean that gives you an idea about his character. Who would you like to see host Shark Week in the future? I would like to see Danny McBride.
Well, unfortunately, Robert Shaw is no longer with us. Him in character.
That'd be cool. just for old time's sake, and I guess I would. I like this answer. Josie's like, how about Penn and Teller hosting Shark Week? I would like that. Favorite spit? Oh no. Ashley still with us?
Probably.
Okay, good. Favorite spitting scene in a movie?
It's an obvious answer, but the one in Titanic. But the thing that makes the one in Titanic so great is the callback when she does it in Billy is really, really, really satisfying.
I'm trying to think whether the spitting scene in Scarface is what leads to the chainsaw in the bathroom.
It's listed on there.
I'm trying to remember where it falls in it. Or whether it's when his sister, is it his sister or whatever? Like towards the end, when it comes to the sort of big final bit when she spits on him because he's caring more about the drugs or something.
I'm just gonna go with Jimmy Dugan and A League of Their Own.
Well, obviously, there's also Stilgar's introduction in Dune, obviously, but you know the one I keep coming back to in my head during this conversation is the mini golf course in Happy Gilmore, where the clown spits the ball out. It keeps coming to my mind.
That's great. Brian says, I know there's a Thomas and Friends in development directed by Mark Forster.
His film, Forster's filmography is so weird. It is so all over the place.
Speaking of that, Paddington in Peru has been delayed. Oh no! Sound. Shirt.
He's a guy that does every single genre thinking he's Danny Boyle, except he does them shit apart from the Kite Runner.
Paddington?
Mark Forster was nothing to do with Paddington. That was Paul King. Get it right.
I'm going with what Brian said. It would have to go into the realms of the Paddington films. That's what Thomas and Friends would be like, is what he said.
I doubt it.
All right. And we are moving on. Josie says, I gotta hope Poor Things does not get pushed with the strike. I will cry. Yeah, that trailer looks great. I'm really looking forward to Poor Things. So, another thing I want to mention before we get to the buy one, rent one, lose one for Josie's, I guess it's an unofficial segment to end for the night. It's Josie's birthday Friday.
Yo.
Happy birthday, Josie.
Happy joy.
Sharing a birthday was John David Washington, Dustin Milligan, and Elizabeth Berkley. Okay, AJ, you got your paper and pen ready?
Oh god, this is
Yeah, I'm exhausted with these technical difficulties. So is it this and then the Oscar game and then we're done? I think is that
That's
it?
exactly right, sir.
All right, let's do it.
Take it home. Buy one, rent one, lose one. Movies with colors in the title. Oh, we're getting a theme. This time it's going to be red. Are we ready?
Red, yeah.
Yes, red E. Reds. Red Dawn. Red Heat. Thin Red Line. Red Shoes. Red Dragon. Red Eye. Three Colors Red. Red Road. Mask of the Red Death. Hunt for Red October. Red Balloon. Red River. And Born in the Brothels, Calcutta's Red Light Kids.
Okay, red heat is gone. Fuck that.
That's fair.
The thin red line is at the top.
Oh.
I would say I love Red Dragon and Red Eye, but I'm gonna have to go with the red. I'm gonna have to go with the Red Shoes. Red under the thin red line, but red heat is dead. Red heat is the Schwarzenegger Belushi movie, right?
I believe so.
Anything with Jim Belushi, most things with Jim Belushi should be thrown into a fire.
Oh wow. Ashley. Red?
I mean, because you never never specified which Red Dawn, I'm gonna get rid of the remake.
Remake is not listed.
No, a year has not been given, but Red Heat did get a year, so that's why I'm getting of Red Heat and the Red Dawn remake. The original Red Dawn's fine. We didn't need a remake and we didn't need Red Heat, so both of them go. I'd buy Red Shoes, and I'd probably rent Hunt for Red October.
It's a good one.
Although I was thinking it's close between that and Red Road, because Red Road is really good, and if you haven't seen it, catch it if it's available somewhere. If I can remember, it might become a movie club. I don't know.
I'm with AJ on Red Heat. I'm gonna. Yeah, I'll have to do that. I'm gonna rent the red shoes and buy Red Dragon. So once again, thank you, Josie, for your contribution this week, and we hope you have a wonderful birthday. Tell us all about it in 2 weeks when we return. Brian, you get to take it home. Before we do, thoughts on 1990's win for Total Recall?
It's a good win. I mean, are we calling it a win?
He says, just for the sake of...
I can't think what else that year would have been, a good sort of contender for it.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say there was no contenders in 1990. just a guesstimate here.
We're in that.
I'm going to look at what other films were.
We're in that area where there's when we're talking practical effects, the line gets kind of blurry. I feel like.
Sure.
Because I feel like we're kind of sometimes it can be leaning into production design about practical effects, but that's I don't know.
$1991. Terminator 2 Judgment Day, Backdraft, or Hook?
A great set of nominees, but T2 is still like one of the best movies ever made. A lot of that having it still looks groundbreaking.
I can't chime in on this one, and that sucks.
I'm pleased to see Backdraft in there, because obviously a lot of that was practical. Because nowadays they just CGI the shit out of it. But yeah, T2.
I have to abstain because it's not official. I've not seen everything on this list. '91 was a great year, though. 1992, Death Becomes Her, Alien 3, Batman Returns.
I think it's fun that Death Becomes Her won. I would probably go with Alien 3, personally. I know people like to shit on the movie, but as far as there's a whole video on that, but also effects-wise, that's probably the one I would go with here. Because I feel like not everything... I haven't seen Death Becomes Her in forever. Visual effects-wise, it may not completely hold up in the way Alien 3 probably does better.
Sure.
At the time, I think Death Becomes Her probably was right, but in retrospect, yeah, I'd just about edge Alien 3 over Batman Returns.
I guess I'm just going to go with Batman Returns then. Okay. 1993, another great year. Jurassic Park, Cliffhanger, The Nightmare Before Christmas.
I love Nightmare Before Christmas's nomination so much. Cliffhanger's a really good choice too, but much like 91, it's like well, yeah, I mean, who's gonna argue Jurassic Park? Who's going to argue against it? Please stand up.
I mean, we literally have a tribute story in the parks right now just celebrating the existence of Jurassic Park coming out in theaters. With photo ops and everything. And props in the movie. Yeah, Jurassic Park, obviously the answer.
Yeah, I'd stick with Jurassic Park too.
1994, Forrest Gump, The Mask, True Lies.
I would say Forrest Gump is right. I'm assuming it with Forrest Gump. It comes from putting him into the historical footage and taking Garcinis' legs out, and all of those look nearly flawless. I mean, you could say like when Kennedy or Johnson talk, obviously they're tampered with, but it looks really fucking good.
Agreed.
And shout out to Gary Sinise for his performance. Makes it just as believable that his legs aren't there as the effect does.
Yeah, just about stick with the Gump.
And even though I got blocked on X, and even though they took Pepsi away, I'm still always going to love Forrest Gump. Babe or Apollo 13, 1995.
I love Babe so much, and I honestly love its win. It's interesting to me Apollo 13 didn't win this, especially with only 2 nominations.
Tell me about it.
I would say it probably should be Apollo 13 with Babe winning, but
All right, Ashley, space or swine?
I'd have to just edge it to Apollo 13. Although, like, getting the animals sort of to look like they talk normally rather than doing what they always did was basically, like, put... Back in the old days when they just put peanut butter on the mouth to make them... You know, like that to try and make words fit into it.
Oh, that reminds me. That movie's coming soon to Movie Club.
Yeah, I'll just about edge it to Apollo 13.
Funny that we mentioned this because I didn't do this on purpose. Obviously, Snake Eyes was our pick for Movie Club yesterday. Blowout came out 42 years ago today, so that's interesting timing. Yeah, definitely Apollo 13 here. 1996, Independence Day, Dragonheart, Twister.
I watch Independence Day this month every year, and it is unbelievable how well Independence Day's effects hold up. Like, holy shit, that movie looks so good still. We'll talk about Dragonheart in September, and that's gonna be visual effects are gonna be a big talking point in that video. But right now, I just have nothing but praise and love for the effects in Independence Day.
Ashley.
Twister, it's got a flying fucking cow.
Yeah, between Pullman and Paxton, I'm going to choose Paxton every time. He is Coconut Pete after all. 1997, Titanic, Lost World, Starship Troopers.
I like how easy these are. I don't. The bugs in Starship Troopers haven't really held up very well. And anytime Cameron's involved, I mean, I know we're talking Cameron and Spielberg here, but Spielberg in the mix, I feel like there's no competition whenever Cameron's involved.
Yeah, it's definitely Titanic.
Yeah, one of the good things, the only things that I really rate about it, really, the visual effects. You know, that's the reason why Avatar got it in '09, because it took him that long to make the effects like look all right.
Real quick, Brian says, fun fact number one of the winners of Death Becomes Her, Tom Woodruff Jr. is from his hometown.
Wow.
Interesting. 1998, What Dreams May Come, Armageddon, Mighty Joe Young.
I come as a very interesting winner. Even though I'm not Armageddon's biggest fan, I might have to say it. But it's What Dreams May Come as an inspired choice, which I like. So there's that, but yeah.
Ashley.
I'd kind of hedge it to Mighty Joe Young, because that was the first time that we really had sort of that realistic a gorilla, and then from
That's
then
fair.
on it just became CGI. Thanks, Andy Serkis. In every sense of the word.
And taking it home in 1999, obviously I'm going to go with Armageddon here. 1999, The Matrix, Phantom Menace, Stuart Little. I sense the cookie
Once
monster.
again, it's a good. It's a good lineup, but yeah, this was another one where there was really no question.
Considering how much it influenced the genre for like probably 6 or 7 years after it, you have to go with The Matrix. Although I do say that, like, for introducing the sort of franchise to new people, if they're watching it in order, visually, Phantom Menace is actually pretty good.
Yeah.
And again, I have to abstain because I've never seen The Matrix. That was a fun game. Brian says, choose a decade for makeup and hair. Only 4 decades here, not counting the 2020s.
I don't know whether to stick with 90s or go to 2000s. We'll go with the 2000s.
Oh, yeah, and I feel like a total idiot at this point, but my mind is so scrambled from everything lately. It's going to be that way. Obviously, the answer when it comes to the movie that I would pick is not one that you put on there, and the answer is Red State. So, hey, that's your show. Thanks everyone. Fred Jacobs for popping in. Thank you, Brian, Spencer, and Josie for providing questions throughout the night. And thank you, Cassie, for dropping in as well. We appreciate you every single time you come and join us in this little QA show we do bi-weekly for now. You'll know what I mean soon enough. Don't worry, it's not going anywhere. It's just might be taking a little bit of a sabbatical, potentially, but we'll see. We'll get there when we get there. So, it's officially been announced, makeup and hairstyling of the 2000s and Brian's personal lineup of 2017. So before we end, we're going to congratulate the technologically I guess you would say the massive technical issues that has been plaguing AJ has now caused him to be the victor. And the next episode of Popcast Movie Club will be Go.
One vote at the last minute edged you ahead of Owen. So it means tentatively Sunday the 6th of August will be Go. 2 weeks later on the 20th will be Rent.
Yep.
And then because of the order of votes, I think some point in the first week of September, probably Monday because of AEW, will be Great Mouse Detective. And Children of Men will be Owen's last before his month off.
Actually, I may not be there for Great Mouse Detective or Children of Men, to be quite honest with you. It just depends.
Well, we're being the 17th. I guess it depends how busy you are with your schedule and rehearsals and everything. So
we'll figure it out when we get there.
Mm-hmm. But that is the tentative schedule for the next couple of months.
And don't forget, the end of August, top 8 categories of the 2024 Academy Awards ceremony. We're going to start our predictions.
Which is going to be extra complicated because how many films are going to get moved in those months? Are we even going to have an award ceremony?
The world may not know. So yeah, I mean, I was trying to come up with something cool to say, and I ended up looking like an idiot. So forget about the technical thing I said about AJ at that, because I wish I could swipe that from the record. It happened though. So yeah, that's your show. Ashley has been chugging this network along for a minute, and he will continue to do so, with more content coming your way soon. At Ash is my name. UK is his Twitter name. That's right. Throw up the X. That's right. Throw up the X. So basically, you can also find AJ on no forms of social media, and just like Keith Richards, he cannot be killed by conventional weapons. Also throwing up the X. For whatever reason. Needless to say, hopefully the UIC that has plagued AJ for the past 2 days will be done the party in 2 weeks when we're back. And AJ fans, get ready. Speaking Bluntly Presents Oppenheimer is coming very soon. So get ready for that. And more AJ's movie reviews, more verses. AJ's going to critique himself over the next couple months. We've got a lot of horror movies. There's a lot of really great content that I'm very excited to get people's eyes on. So that's coming your way. I can be found at Sir Owen Disney on the X.com. Does not sound like a site that someone should have access to without paying $9.95 a month. Needless to say, if you want to tweet me, you can. If you have ideas for Sip and Snack versus and the other regular segments on the network, SirOwenDisney@gmail.com. Check out our Discord server if you have any questions that you think of while we're having a little sabbatical, like the 2 weeks we have between shows. If you have a question on the off week, ask it on Discord. We'll get to it 100%. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks everyone for listening. Sorry about the technical glitches. Hopefully we'll iron those out soon enough. Don't forget, stream intellectual property. Always have the best day ever. And baby, you were born this way. And in the meantime, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. Until next time, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.